Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Radha Krishna Prestayate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana. Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Krishna Prasnayate
Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Navide Guru Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasnayate
So this morning, we will discuss what we have discussed yesterday. It's connected with the teaching of Lord Krishna and our instructing spiritual master. It is connected with our position. It's connected with our transcendental essence. And if you can understand it and appreciate it, then we are able to see the process, and we can pinpoint what separates us from experiencing this connection in harmony with God, with Lord Krishna. So now we will discuss about our true position. So I'll read here the teachings of Lord Krishna. It is about Bhagavad Gita chapter 13. It's about nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. So Lord Krishna is talking to Arjuna, telling him about his situation. The same way that our is instructing his spiritual master is passing on the same message that Lord Krishna is giving us. So that is the benefit of coming in contact with the disciplic succession coming from God. The process is perfect, and the message that is transcendental is passed on without change, the same. And the bona fide spiritual master is able to communicate to us in this contemporary age according to situation wherein we can understand and comprehend real life, real situation, or how we can solve the problems we're facing. And it is connected with our separation from these two absolute fundamental truth. Our eternality. I am not matter, life, a different energy from matter. I am in quality. I have the same qualities as God. In a minute way, although I'm covered by this material body, what is not taken away from me is the service attitude. Not only that, we want to experience affection. We want to, in short, in a nutshell, we want to experience fulfillment of our heart. And what is that? What is that? It's about love. And as a living entity who is active by nature, we want to express that love in offering it to someone and receiving also a loving reciprocation from someone whom we are trying to relate. But the problem comes when it is based upon ignorance. And what is that ignorance? Materialism, false bodily identification. So I'll discuss here, let's discuss down-to-earth situation. Okay? It's about families. Like, you have children? You have children? Yeah, or most of you have children. So, the moment the child comes to this world, he wants to be served. He wants to be served. He wants something. That's why he cries. Wah! Di ba? He cries. And then the mother runs, take care of him. But the environment and the consciousness is based upon this ignorance of false bodily identification. My child. You're not seeing the person. And the problem also is that this false ego. What is false ego? We want to imitate God. I'm the father. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna give you everything that you want. And the child who is also wanting, the relation becomes, you want to portray yourself as the provider because you want to enjoy cuddling the kid. I'm his father, I'm the mother. And then but it's deflected upon the body. And then you have pictures, look alike. Yeah? You see, look alike pictures. Same. The father wears, short pants. The son also wears short pants. The haircut, it has a ponytail at the back, And the father has a tattoo here. The child also has a tattoo. Same. My expansion. Right? So, the relation you have with your child is about giving, trying to protect. And the child also is, what can I get from you? What can I get from you? So, the child in the beginning stage begins to manipulate, to become controller. And he begins to play a game, a game that becomes natural for someone. It becomes his character. It becomes his character to be manipulating. And then when the father who tries to portray himself as the protector gets snapped out or dies, And not only that, you leave the child, and then you're so worried who's gonna protect the child. If you really love the child, you must be with wisdom. Who can really protect the child? You are eternal spirit soul, but you're in this temporary body. So how can you protect the child? With wisdom and understanding of his identity and a connection and trying to direct his life and making him understand, you are not the center of the universe, jackass. You punk. You cannot always get what you want because you are not the controller. But because we have this, we're also in ignorance, of trying to play this game, to be loved, to be served. We play that game also. It becomes our character. The false ego is false bodily identification and trying to imitate God. That's why relationship in this world, based upon materialism, in the beginning it's very sweet. But after a while it becomes bitter because you're not able to experience fulfillment in your heart. And that world of lust is always connected with fear, with anger, with frustration, anticipation, anxiety. What are we always anxious? That we cannot hold on and control the object or the life we're having as a controller because we are not all powerful. We have to leave this body. That's why we're always fearful. Because of our activities. So I'll read here Lord Krishna's teaching so we can have an understanding to become free from ignorance. Because ignorance puts us in suffering. Ignorance is not an excuse to do nonsense, to be suffering. Just like a child who doesn't know that fire, when you touch the fire, you get burned. You touch the fire, you get burned. So there's something in us that we must purify. It is our enviousness of God. It's the contamination of a misdirection because of not understanding our true eternal nature and our true eternal function as eternally the loving servant of God. We are so engrossed thinking we're the body. And what is our focus? Our life, our character. It's all about us. What do I get? How do I enjoy? So when we come in contact with supposedly a program of so-called religion. It's all about getting purified. It's all about us. And yesterday we were discussing about the false ego. So how is the false ego cut? How can it be purified? From the transcendental wisdom, chit. So we can be guided by the wisdom of our true eternal nature, our true eternal function, Sanatan Dharma. Because we will always be active. The question is, what activities will we do that is in harmony with our true nature? Can you really protect your child? And not only that, if you really love your child, if you really love your wife, your husband, then they must have connection. They must be surrendered and be protected by someone who is eternal, who is the supreme controller, who loves us unconditionally, who is the personification of love. That even though you leave the body, He's still there because the spirit soul will eternally exist. So, it's just one of the problems because of the false ego of trying to dominate. Dominate in a way, in the beginning, we follow the desire in the mind. We want a child. Then after a while, we want to kick the child out of our house because he's becoming now an asshole, you know? It's like there's a pig in the house, you know? You want to kick him out. And not only that, when you begin to understand and be understanding your nature, your true eternal nature as spirit soul, transcendental to this body, you become the witness, watching this body, watching the desire in the mind. So now, understanding about our true eternal goal as we should be in harmony with the source of joy, Krishna, the Supreme Person. But now the focus of what we're doing is a perverted reflection of what is real love. We want to portray ourselves as, serve me, I'm going to protect you. I'm the father, I'm the mother, you know. But while we're doing that, we're always anxious because we're not self-sufficient. We're not in control. And the only way you can control the kid, you know, the kid also, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. He's desire-driven. What can we do to protect him if you really love him? If you love your wife, your husband, that person, any living entities, what can you do? It's by giving them Krishna. Introducing them to Krishna. To connect their heart, their love, their understanding, that they can be protected and be in a transcendental world wherein their unlimited craving, which is now directed upon this body, these senses, this material world, unsatiated, not unfulfilled. It's like the person is suffering, trying to want to experience unlimited fulfillment, but is now directed upon this body. And the body is very limited. It's like an abyss, bottomless, and you're trying to fill it up with a grain of sand. You'll never succeed. You'll never succeed. That's why the names of God is not different from God. It can fill up this empty heart, this desert heart. If you're thirsty, you say water, the sound water and the object water are completely different. You say water, 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 then you die with thirst. But if you say Krishna, Krishna, you experience connection with the source of joy. It is an experience from my experience, and so many individuals who are looking in this desert world, trying to squeeze happiness through this dead matter body, this body, life, trying to eat, nails and broken, different broken bottles, That's why it is an experience of pain. So Lord Krishna tells us about our real situation. In chapter 13, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, when you hear it now, the message of Lord Krishna, when you make progress, we make progress in our understanding, we become mature and purified by heart. Our mind becomes purified, our desire becomes purified. We see it with clarity. And the more we become purified, the more we see it clearly. And the effect will be a wanting to taste a relationship with God, wanting to do the will of God. So now let's look at our situation. Are we wanting to do the will of God? And what is that will? It's not about what's being projected by these so-called preachers who portray that God should be feared. They teach salvation, that you should be afraid of God. No. He's the most gentle, he's the most lovable, the softest, the sweetest. We call him Krishna, the all-attractive Supreme Person, wherein we can take shelter and offer our heart, our life. That is the science we can understand and achieve the goal if we follow the process, this scientific process of Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name, that God Himself is introducing to us, that is ongoing eternally in the spiritual world by Kunta. It is an invitation to all of us here in this desert world. We're so much encumbered and covered with this contamination of materialism that we have become so selfish, looking for happiness where there is none, trying to look water in the desert, trying to drink sun. And as a parent, what do you do when you cannot control the kid anymore? Because that kid also has his own understanding. He wants to do his own will. What you gonna do? Kick his ass? Beat him to death? So he toes the line? Or drive him out of the house? You die, kid. And the kid, you have made it that your relationship, his relationship with you as an order supplier. But he's gone out of control. And you get angry, you kick him. You asshole. You want to strangle him. And the kid, I hate you. I cannot get what I want. And then, what happens? He roams around like a stray dog, looking around. And then, he's now in a very dangerous, precarious situation. Because there are predators there. Bad association. He can be associated with thieves, drug addicts. Can be manipulated by those pimps. Or not only that, when they see him, a young boy, we can sell his parts, body parts. We can make money out of this jackass. Make friends with him. put him into coma, get his liver, and sell it in the market through internet, online. It's a very dangerous world because everybody in this world is out there to play Lord, to get something which is contrary to the world that is transcendental. So Lord Krishna tells us, one who knowingly sees the difference between the body and the owner of the body can understand the process of liberation from this bondage, also attains the supreme goal. What bondage do we have? The shackle. We have become encumbered by this body. We have become conditioned. I am this body. And the happiness is fulfilling my craving through the senses, through eating, through seeing. So I relate to everybody in a perverted way. So we talk about perverts. Everybody who's in materialism, who's in false bodily identification is a pervert. Not the homosexual. Anybody who tries the spirit soul, who is conditioned to thinking he's the body, he's the owner, everything. He is the controller and tries to find happiness in matter. Is a pervert. But the false ego will, no. We don't want to hear that, We are the Lord. So that's what is happening to all of us here. We must understand, number one, we will always be servants. We will always be dominated. In false ego, not our true identity. We become conditioned to play Lord, to imitate God. We want to do our own will. We want to be master. That's why if we can understand the science of identity, we think, wow, I am this body. I'm going to control. What ends up? We become enslaved by the senses. We become enslaved by the mind, the desire. We become so much engrossed and we are trampled and covered and dragged on to become a slave of the senses. So we talk about freedom. And this false ego, it's a perverted consciousness of the living entity because he's thinking, you're trying to control me. You're trying to control me. I don't want to do my own will. One time, my Siksha Guru, my instructing spiritual master tells us, you want to enjoy, to be controller? Be very careful because there's 6 billion of you here in this material world. Human beings, aside from the living entities who are there roaming around, the tigers, the lions, the snake, the mosquitoes, who are all out there to do harm to you, is a very dangerous place. What is a secured place? Where the place there is no death. This is a planet of death. The rising and the setting of the sun. Every day, the rising of the sun, this afternoon, the setting of the sun. Look back 10 years ago. Look at the picture you have while you're in that body. Sweet 16. Now when your body is 60, it's not anymore sweet. No, it's not anymore like that. And they have these ads, how to solve this problem. If you are already 80, meaning you're the body, you're already 80, you can look 40. How? Follow this process of the aging. Go back as a reversal to old age. That's all nonsense. That's why you look at those people who goes to this facelifting, chiseling, trying to contour the body through surgery. They stretch and stretch the skin, When they smile, they don't smile anymore. As if, how come you're smiling? Kasi it's already they cannot even move the muscles, Kasi it's already stretched. How come your eyes are open even though you're sleeping? How come your eyebrows are already here? Because it's already pulled. So no more eyebrows here, put tattoo. Your jaw is sagging. What will we do? You look like a dog already, an old dog. What will you do? Pull this, take off, chisel your face. That's the other do. Why do you do that? To be loved, to be accepted. Someone who loves us eternally, who has unconditional love for us, is Krishna. He loves us eternally. Either we are a demon, we hate him, we don't like him, he still loves us. Or someone who's serving him, he loves him. Because we're eternally his child, he's our eternal Father. So, how do we become free from this false ego? Understanding that no matter how we try to rearrange, to deviate from the absolute truth of our true eternal nature as servant, we will still be servants. For example, a person who understands his true eternal nature as spirit soul and engages in the process that is given by God himself to serve, to glorify him, to love him, to serve him, and the ninth process that is given by our instructing spiritual master, Rupa Goswami, in the nectar of instruction, to enhance our love, to nurture the love that has been misdirected upon this temporary world, upon our own self, because they even come to the point na, this Christmas, why don't you give a gift to yourself, Nobody loves you, man, but you can love yourself, And they put this ad, give a very nice, fulfilling gift to you. To yourself. A new car, Then Christmas comes. Ting, ting, ting. Sir, there is a gift coming. From whom? From you. You send it to yourself. That is not the solution. The solution is understanding with wisdom who we are. And in ignorance, we will still be serving God. But now, there's pain. Because our meditation is upon this temporary world. And this temporary world is a place of misery. And this body is the source of misery. Birth, death, disease, and old age. So, you love someone so much. And she has cancer. No? But you're in bodily identification. How can you express your love? Bring her to the best doctor, to the best hospital, so she will experience relief from the pain, That is not the solution. Because when we are misdirected, where ignorance will still be dominated, will still be servant. But now, we are serving in pain. Look closely. You engage now in so many activities, meaning that will be your consciousness, your meditation. So if your meditation, if your focus now, if your master now is yourself, the false ego, the contamination of false ego trying to play Lord, servant of your senses, servant of our senses, very selfish. The focus of our happiness is just I Me, mine. I, me, mine. In pain, in suffering, in happiness, I, me, mine. So meaning, at the time I'm leaving this body, the most important recall I can have will be my outlook, the consciousness I have. So the master I serve today will be my master at the time of death. You will remember. You're so attached to this world, the source of your happiness. The body that you have, that's clinging, you're using to exploit and enjoy, try to find fulfillment, you leave it behind. And if you're in ignorance, the perverted way of trying to care and love, which has been transformed in this contaminated state, which is actually not love. You want to eat that person. You want to consume that person. You want to dominate that person because you want to find fulfillment from being loved by that person. But that person is not God and not the body. You're going to leave the body also. What will you do? Embrace the body? Cling to the body? Just like this mortician who's in false bodily identification is a real life story. His wife died. He cannot bear it. A separation from the wife because she's thinking, my wife, what will we do? Burn her? Put her in the grave so the world will eat her? No, I cannot do that. I won't allow that. So she embalmed the body of the wife. For years and years, the body is there, but it's embalmed. So it won't decay so fast. So he has to put formalin, put makeup and wear a bridal dress and lay down her on this big matrimonial bed so he can sleep and meditate upon her every day. My wife. And the neighbors were always asking, where's your wife? Oh, she just went to the mother to get some flowers. But you've been saying that for years and years. Because they're so nosy, people like, what's happening there? So they tried to peep, and they were surprised to see this Japanese mortician lying down with his pajama, embracing the wife, who's embalmed. And because it's against the law, so they called the policeman. They called the authorities to get that body out of there. So they took the body out. This is a real story that happened in Japan. They took the body out. And this person, he's crying, why are you taking my wife, my love? So while even in this world, you experience already the pain. Because we have misused, misdirected our true natural function, our true natural position as eternally the loving servant of God. We try to dominate material nature, and the mind's focus and meditation is upon this dead world. And when that is taken away from us, wow, it's like a rug. You're standing on this platform, the rug is pulled out. You fall down. You understand? So if we are intelligent, we should see the truth, because the truth will set us free. That is the reason the spiritual master speaks the truth. And what happens? Oh, you're so arrogant, You're telling us we should not enjoy. We don't want to come near you, No, the spiritual master speaks the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. He's very honest. Because he loves us. They don't play. So, the spiritual master, when the disciple comes in contact with the spiritual master is very cold with the false ego. Because you're not the false ego. When you identify yourself as the false ego, the spiritual master tells you, Oh, what are you doing? You're so arrogant. You think you're self-sufficient. You know everything. But the living entity who is in condition panics. You know, I am pure. I know everything. You're hurting me. I don't want to be with you. But the spiritual master will cut that false ego with wisdom, chop it. Because the wisdom that is giving us is non-different from the holy names. It purifies us. It protects us from experiencing pain. Because the pain we experience is a separation from the source of happiness. So everything we do should be in connection with pleasing God, because that will give us protection, that our life will be under the care of God. We have this choice, freedom. So we must make this right choice to be situated in our true transcendental nature, in understanding and in action, not just wisdom. Oh, I know that. I've been chanting for 50 years. I know that. You know, I know that. And some also, who comes in contact with the wisdom, comes with the contact with the spiritual master, and not make progress. He begins to see so much pain, so much work. What do I get from this? For 14 years, I've been chanting, you know, I've been bowing down, serving them. What do I get? Where is love? Where is love? You know? Then you have a problem. Because the solution to protect you is just right in front of your nose. You cannot even see it. You don't even know who your friends are. So, through the purificatory process of singing the glories of God, the Maha Mantra, the mind becomes purified. The mind is drawn away from this false world, purified from false ego. You begin to understand your true eternal nature. We come in contact with the process given to us. But all of us have this attitude. What can I get? What can I get? If I give this, what do I get? And you look around, there's so many offerings outside. And there's someone who's giving you a process that will be conducive to connect your heart with the will of God. But the mind, due to experience and contamination and a character for so long, we have become so much engrossed in trying to play Lord. We are not appreciating anymore our true eternal nature as eternally the loving servant of God. The attitude is always about taking. No, there is a saying, the more give, when you give, you experience happiness. The more you give, the more you're happy. In a transcendental world, in a transcendental wisdom, with the transcendental wisdom. Because the more you give, the more you serve, it is with an amiable rendering devotional service, an offering of love that will give you happiness. That's why we are very protective. Who do I give my love? That's why in the Muslim world, only Allah should be our master, who our shelter, Krsna, the all-compassionate. So I'll read again here, and let's continue this tomorrow, because it's a subject matter that we must have clear understanding. So we can be guided and make the right and correct decision with clarity. to enter the world that is our eternal world, to be in harmony with the love of the Supreme Person, to be able to taste rendering loving service to God with this understanding. One who knowingly sees the difference between the body and the owner of the body can understand the process of liberation from the bondage and attain the supreme goal. So eternally you will be in this service situation. Either you're a servant of God, you still be a servant of God if you don't follow Him, because you'll be the servant of material nature. You'll experience the reaction of good and bad karma. As you sow, you shall reap. When you engage in your natural position and function and rendering pure devotional service, it's called a karma, no karma. It's your eternal world. And when you nurture it, it is your connection with the world of harmony, with the will of God, and you're connected with the joy you're always looking. You have protection in your heart. So who purifies us? Krishna Himself. Who loves us? Krishna Himself. Who enthuses us? Who motivates us? Krishna Himself. Provided we follow in harmony the process that is given to us, the study of the science of devotional service and applying it in our life. But if we engage just in material science and the science and try to be with wisdom of all this dead matter here and try to manipulate it, we're separated. But from God, love, because now the focus of our love is ourselves. Is it clear to you? You look at yourself, look at ourselves, the problem we face. It's all about wanting to get something. So our advice to be in harmony with our true nature as eternally the loving servant of God. It's just like watering the root of the tree. You're hungry, you're hungry, you get the food, put it in your mouth. So it goes to the stomach, it goes to the body, around the body, it goes to the finger. So if we don't engage in activities that is in harmony with the will of God, it's just like there's this tree with so many branches, you're cut off from that branch, from that tree. The branch is cut off. And when that branch is cut off, what happens? It withers. It dries up. So look at our life. Are we withering? Are we dying? Are we empty-hearted? Are we fearful? Then we can understand how much we have been separated from the word that is eternal, from our true eternal natural function in harmony with the Supreme Person. So you can check. So instead of trying to follow the mind, figure the mind, control the mind, let Krishna control the mind. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Let Krishna give us the light. And follow the wisdom. Understand the wisdom. The truth will set us free. Free from what? From suffering of this world. Free from what? From longing, from disconnection of our true eternal nature as rendering loving service to the Supreme Person, wherein we are able to experience in our life just serving God. There's nothing more to be gained because everything belongs to Him. He's my friend. And not only that, we're so blessed to be with someone who is confidential loving servant, who teaches us, who embraces us with wisdom, to be sheltered on His lotus feet, meaning guided by His love, because He is the person who can teach us how to love God, someone who's loving God. That is the blessing we have while we are traveling in this universe now, in this body, in this planet Earth, the time that we have, the body that we have, the opportunity that we have. If we misuse it, then you come here as a born loser, you're gonna live as a born loser. You will be living with an empty bag. And the master of your life here will be the master at death. And if that activities you engage in is simply the dictates of the mind, which is where lust, greed, and envy is situated, lust has become our master, then we suffer because we are separated from the source of joy and happiness, the love that is there being given to us by Lord Krishna. We don't want to hold it. We don't want to embrace it. We just follow the mind. So we must be able to be connected with God's love. And He comes as the holy names. Krishna. In this age, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative. We don't have the power to control material nature. We don't have the power to control time. We don't have the power to be staying in this body eternally. We will be leaving this body. And if we don't follow in harmony a karma or activities in pure devotional service, we will be engaging in karmatic activities and suffer the resultant. And we will have to take another body again, on and on and on, an empty life, a suffering life. So, if we don't appreciate this, we don't take it, that will be our own lookout. Because as you sow, so you shall reap. So, Haribol, Namaste. Let's continue our study program tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening, to be reminded of our true eternal position and function, and so we can act or not act. It depends upon us. Haribol, Namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Ora Karuna Sarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Mata Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Boy, everybody sing loud, Hare Boy. Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gauranga,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Rama,
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev.